Welcome to WhoDooTV. Today we had the birth of Air, the rebirth, something, the prequel.
Welcome to WhoDooTV.
Geez, I do that every time. My bad. We're talking about the prequel, Bloodshot Rising Spirit #1. This is a live show of a live comic review. We don't normally do this, but we're doing this. How's everybody doing? My name is Hoosier, and I got my buddy with me, the Bald Moose.
Yep. Here to break down my favorite character, this little prequel thing going on. Good times, man. Nice shirt, by the way.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Oh, Grandpa. You gotta love it. One of my all-time, that and the Goldies from #3. Two favorite covers on that whole entire series. It's so awesome.
Agreed. I love that, man. I just love that rendition of him, what he looks like there. I think it was awesome. Yeah, dude. New comic book day, dude. Bloodshot Rising Spirit came out. And I'm just going to go through the creators now before I forget to later. It is a long list. This one had the story. I'll go ahead and give you guys an image to look at while we're doing it. We had story by Zach Thompson and Lonnie Nadler. Script by Kevin Grievous. Pencils by Ken Lashley. Finishes, which finishes as a normally would be inker spot, I guess. Ryan Wynn, Brian Theus, and Oliver Borges. Colorist Diego Rodriguez. Letterer Simon Bolin. Editor David Minchell. Carl Bowlers, and Joseph Illage as the creator callouts who had some touch in this book. It's been a weird kind of roller coaster as far as who's writing this book, who's on this book, what's the deal with this book? Because I know we initially got the news that it was Lonnie and Zach, and very, very recently they changed it saying, hey, Kevin Grievous is going to be writing it, and Lonnie and Zach are no longer on it. So yeah. I have no idea what happened there, but it doesn't seem like it was as planned.
Yeah, still doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. We got the book now. It is what it is. Frustrating, confusing. But as long as it makes a good book, I don't think we're going to care too much.
Right. Were you really looking forward to a prequel to come out, or was that something that kind of came out of the blue for you?
No, I wasn't looking for it at all. Matter of fact, when they said it, it was probably at the time just not that interested. I didn't know how long they were going to take it. We found out here a while back, though, that it was going to be 8 books. And that seems about right. But it's still a prequel. It's a Bloodshot book, so I'm going to read it. Maybe it has a little something in it. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, hopefully there's some stuff in there. And I don't know. I know it's kind of sounds like it's partly because of the movie. The movie's coming to get some people on board about who's Bloodshot, kind of clear up some things, or who knows. I just felt when they said this and where Bloodshot Salvation was ending off, I didn't think it was a good idea. I thought they should have kept going with this Rampage storyline, where they're at with Omen, with the daughter, with Jesse, and I think they should have kept exploring that, even though Lemire's not there. But this totally takes it in a different direction and a different realm. So, yeah.
I was hoping for something a touch different. Livewire completely messed with Bloodshot's brain in Harbinger War 2. I mean, our last image of Bloodshot was the Bloodshot mist that was kind of haphazardly reforming his body. I think if you really want to get into Bloodshot and PTSD and betrayal, which he's been betrayed often, we can go back to Livewire setting him up back in the Bloodshot Reborn number 10, 11, 12 arc. Can't remember the name of that arc. But in that arc, Livewire and Ninjak set basically a failsafe that keeps anybody from hacking into Bloodshot's brain. Then Livewire hacks into his brain in Harbinger War 2, and all heck breaks loose. He's the lasting destructed hero. I would have loved to see a tale of betrayal mixed in somehow with a Livewire book and a new Bloodshot book, where basically Bloodshot set to try, in some way, shape, or form, he has to piece together his own mind. He's forgotten who Jesse is. He's forgotten who Magic is. But he's got to piece together his own mind. And the only thing that he can remember is the betrayal of his friend that was supposed to be looking out for him, which was Livewire. To me, the deaths in Harbinger War II and everything that happened, her being a terrorist, that has little to do with anything in my mind. The biggest point in that entire book was the betrayal. Now, there's still time to somehow put a book together and still go down that route, but that to me needs to be addressed. If later on we see Bloodshot and Livewire side by side fighting some alien, I'm going to be seriously disappointed.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with that too. Also, I do believe that one thing Bloodshot's always been missing is a solid big bad. He's always had Project Rising Spirit. He's always had Omen. And they have the ability to use Rampage and Scarred Man as kind of those pieces and have a really good, try to get him a rogues gallery, which I think is one thing he's missing because it's always been corporations that he's been going against. So that's kind of my opinion on that. But yeah, I do. Yeah, that probably needs to be addressed some way, of how Livewire did that to him. But I'm kind of with Valiant. I'm kind of at the point of them going at each other the way they have been, especially after Harbinger Wars 2. I can use without that, to be honest, for a little while. I want to see some good comics coming out with some good, villains, some good rogues gallery. Like, I feel like that's the thing that hasn't quite been there for a while, and they need to bring those up. Because, I mean, Harada's coming back, which is great, but he's that, anti-hero. He's kind of a hero in some realms, depending on how you're looking at it. And then Master Dark and, Roku. Like, there's not a whole lot of solid villain necessarily, and that's the big thing that they're missing. And I think they started doing it with Rampage, and I would like to see that. So, yeah. What do you think about the covers of this #1 issue? I liked them, actually.
There's some of them that I like, and there's some of them that I'm really not all that fond of.
I agree.
Now, Mac, I don't know if Mac could do anything bad. I just love David Mack's art. And while you see the Bloodshot image in the background, it says, what does that say? I remember
everything.
That is awesome.
I remember everything. So I love that.
Feeling. It's. I mean, even when I said that in my mind, that the hairs on the back of my neck just stood up. The image of the person. You want to know who that person is because it looks like an older person. It doesn't look like Bloodshot that we know. Who is this mystery man that you can barely make out his face? And then you see the background of Bloodshot with a smoking gun. To me, that is just, I look at that and I'm like, man, I remember everything. And who is this guy? And that one was pretty awesome. I think for a basic cover, the Vietnam looking cover, I think that's pretty cool.
That's kind of a big callback to old Layton cover, I believe. So
yeah, I like
Bob Layton.
That's pretty cool. I will say that while I probably still want to and desire to collect it, the glass cover, it almost looks like he's trying to, like, you got the scars that go back, but they're way too big. But it looks like he's got a portion of a man bun going on there.
Well, it looks like he's about to get in the position to take a dump.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that one. Although for the glass cover, I don't know. I'm still kind of up in the air about collecting that one.
I do like the A cover, Felipe Massafera. That is a gorgeous freaking cover. The A cover on the far left. Oh, that one, I just love his use of light is just magnificent. And that's one thing he's done very well in a lot of his covers. I know he did all the Icon covers from the day, from the Icons initiative from a year ago, 2 years ago. I enjoy his covers. I think they look great. Again, his use of light is fantastic.
Yeah, Masafar also did the 1 in 40 Eternity book, which you're right. The light there is spectacular. The colors are just out of this world. The art design, everything. Gorgeous.
So, do you want to summarize this book? What happened? What and just to let everybody know, massive spoilers, massive spoilers. We're going to talk in depth. If you haven't read this, pause it, come back, read it. If you have read it, thank you. Join the live chat. Tell us what you're thinking. Give us your 2 cents. We want to know what you're thinking. But yeah, do you want to shoot up and see what kind of give it a quick review? Like, tell me what this is in 30 seconds.
All right, Angelo Mortali. He's trying to become a made man. Goes to Riker Island, becomes Bloodshot, deal with the devil, if you will. But come to find out, it was only an implant. Bloodshot wakes up, kills a bunch of people, and then we find out that it was the whole Angelo Mortali was just an implant into his brain.
Yep, it was 20-something pages of reading to figure out, that was fake.
None of that was
a dream. So yeah, I did, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I got some images to show everybody, to kind of give everybody an idea. It started off with some good-looking art. I really liked this. I mean, it's very Diego Rodriguez colors palette there, with that dark purplish blue. If you it reminds me of Ninja K, the first arc of Ninja K, the first arc of Exo Manowar with Matt Kent. And yeah, it's trying to be a made man, goes in, shoots everybody. And then there's some interesting context when he's in Riker's Island and a corny panel.
You
spot the corny panel?
Yeah, there's a series of, from the top of that panel to the bottom of that panel, left a lot to be desired. And then, yeah, corny ending panel.
Yep. I thought this one was interesting. He's like, you're stubborn. You know what I mean? It's, you're a mystery. You're loyal to a fault. And then, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 panels later, they're agreeing. So I thought that was an interesting way to put it.
Yeah.
And then we go off to some panels that I feel like we've seen before, knowing Bloodshot, right? With Bloodshot hooked up to the machines, Bloodshot nanoids activate, and he's Bloodshot. But you can notice the art changes throughout here. So, I mean, that's part of the reason why we had so many creators on the creator roll call, too. Yeah,
you can definitely tell that that Bloodshot changes 3 different times here. And you can tell just kind of by looking at the chin. It's not all done by the same person, but I will say that center panel you got there, I do like that. Even though we've seen that before in advertisements and such, I do think it's pretty cool.
Yep. Here's a panel that I thought, the one I probably had the most issues with, and is he's doing his research, he's training in this panel, and I thought it was interesting, the green screens of computers there. There was like no attempt to put anything on there. I had the press copy. Do you have the actual purchase copy? Did it have those green screens on that?
Yes, it's the same exact ones, and it's like green on green. It's like you're supposed to be looking out at something, but then you've got these screens, these computer screens, and it's just green. There's no images. There's no code line. I would imagine that several of them should probably have code.
Right.
But no, nothing.
And I love it. I don't think he can make the red mile. Well, it looks like he's in the green mile because all you got is the green screen. Yeah, not stick figures. I mean, that one kind of, was funny, as far as looking at that.
Or something. I don't know.
And then there was some weird one-lines, kind of very nod to the 80s, the 1 second, spits out bullets and who's buying and calls him a show off. It's just, it kind of at some point there was some corniness to it, which I think that's a nod to the 80s, to the 90s action movies. I felt like that's really what it was, kind of a love story to it, but I'm not for certain.
Yeah, I would agree with you that it does kind of seem to be leaning that way towards a nod to the 80s, the whole name thing, all of that. Very big nod. Even the guns, the big blaster guns when Bloodshot's going through his fight, if you will.
And then we have this person that arrives in this weird scene when they're out and about, and a guy kind of arrives. and it leaves the question, who is this? And then their context back and forth isn't really, following. It doesn't track, right? There's not much tracking to this conversation, which definitely is a mind trip, but it doesn't explain it well, as far as in the comic.
No, it doesn't explain at all. I don't know who this person is, this person that just shows up in Mexico out of the blue. There's a lot of fan theory out there, some that we've already read. It could be his subconscious. It could be Axe. We really don't quite know.
And not the Axe from Harbinger. The Axe is from the 90s VEI or VH1 run, and potentially the Axe that is going to be in the Vin Diesel movie.
Yeah, and I think that's cool. That idea would be cool. I like it. But then as we go back and we break down those panels, it's something that I sent to you when you see, don't move. It's too late. Who are you? This can't be real. That part. And that part is the part that just kills me. We're missing something there. And there's a conversation that they chopped out. There's something there they chopped out. And I don't know, it just lends itself to be sloppy, I guess. And I find, it's still, even just thinking about it.
Yeah.
It just seems smooth. Maybe then again, I don't know.
Is it one of the mind stories that we're getting with Bloodshot, right?
Yeah.
And, yeah, it really makes you wonder what it is, who it is, what's going on there, right?
And maybe there's a mind game even for the readers. I don't honestly know.
And then finally, this is one of the ones that I don't know. I said I had problems with the green screens, but this one didn't make much sense to me. And this is the screen where he had just gotten shot after waking up in the lab. And you could see his bullet wound. You could see my cursor going over the bullet wound here. And he's alive. He's well. He's regenerating. And then moments, panels later, boom, he's getting hit right in the same spot. And now he's dead. And that just, even in this 2 panels before, you see the wound right in the same spot. And it just didn't add up to me how one would not work and one would. I just didn't see, I don't know, that little bit. But may I say, this page does look really cool right here, though.
Oh, without a doubt. That is very gruesome and bloody and gory. And I think it's awesome. The art on that is spectacular. Matter of fact, you don't have it pictured, but the next panel below that one where he looks all gruesome, it looks like chunks of his jaw are just falling off as he's making this lunge towards these people. And that is just brutally gory awesome. I saw that, and it just looks like his jaw is just sloughing away. And it's so very, very cool.
And then we're left with the Mortale Ingram Feld. Let's take it from the top. And so what it was all a dream. Wake up, do it all over again. The Ingram is just this failed attempt within the mind, how it erases stuff, and it was to program, and it's over. And that's the first issue of Bloodshot, which news that it has been the #1 selling Bloodshot since the 2012 launch.
Yep, that's what came out earlier on Twitter today. We won't quite know. We won't know until we get the numbers, but it doesn't seem like that'd be too hard of a stretch to do. I know they really pushed this glass cover a ton. It's the first glass cover, much like Exo Manowar was the first metal cover. They pushed that a ton, and it sold somewhere over the 100,000 mark. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to see this sell 50, 60,000.
There's probably tons of speculators with everything going on with the movie, and we're having a new comic come out right a year before #1. So I'm thinking there was a bunch of speculators.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. And sadly, we'll probably see a flood of those less than 1 of 250 out for quite some time.
Yeah, and then I would be curious to know, like, it's number one sold, but what is it? How is it recepted across even further than just us within the Valiant community? Because if it was the number one sold across, that means some non-typical Valiant readers may have gotten more. Also could mean that they did not limit the amount of stores that can get that glass cover. Right? You weren't allowed just to get one. You can get as many as you wanted. Before, you could only get one metal cover, right? Is that correct, Chris?
Yes. When it came to the metal covers, it was one per store. That was said from the beginning, and it held true all the way through. They had come out and said that it was an unlimited, if one of 250, and they made it sound like you could get more than one. They did come out briefly and say, no, just one per store. But if you search on eBay, there are a few stores that are putting out multiple per store, which would lend itself to be. Now, I mean, you could be a store that's got several comic book stores spread out across the state, 3 or 4 across the state, or maybe even across a certain portion of the country.
Right.
And then pulling those and selling them on eBay. That could be the case. I would hope that they limited it to one per store, but you never can tell.
Yeah, and I know prior that they would allow a second one if you also got an exclusive cover involved with it as well. That might be the case. I've seen some exclusive covers out there for it. And then there's always the single issue buyback program that Valiant has too, and that if they don't sell, they can sit right back and get their money back for that comic book. So how many really sold on the shelves, or how many were just pre-ordered by the store to get this glass cover? Where are we at from there? I don't know, but yeah.
I think we'll get a good feel of that come issue 2.
Mm-hmm.
If we start seeing
what are you thinking with this book, with this series? Where do you think it's going to go?
Honestly, there's not too far that it can go. If you look at Bloodshot 2012, this, I mean, you could say it's years before they came out with Bloodshot 2012, but by the end of it, will they have built up to that 2012? Will they do many of the same things and show us the incarnations through his brain? I imagine we're going to see at least one more somewhere down the line.
Right.
Will there be a confrontation between the blonde-haired, blue-eyed, 80s typical pretty boy and Bloodshot? Probably. I don't think it's the last time we saw the blonde-haired, blue-eyed pretty boy that shot Bloodshot in the back of the head.
Yep.
I see that going that route. I probably book 8 will end with Bloodshot killing the blonde-haired, blue-eyed pretty boy.
Who was the Project Rising Spirit guy at first? I can't remember. The detective there.
The book got it right. Let me go back here and find the name. But before Bloodshot really got going, I do believe it was Cormac, yeah. And then from Cormac, didn't last too long into the book. Shortly after, or around, huh?
Was it Kozol after that?
Yeah, Kozol was after that. That was after, or right around. That was right around Harbinger Wars, right at the beginning of Harbinger Wars. Kozol got into the action. He was moved up.
Okay, because that's who he reminded me of, was Morris Kozol. That's who I kind of got a vibe of who he was. So
yeah, but I do recall, and I just recently was tooling through the Bloodshot 1, 2, and 3. I was tooling through, and I want to say that Cormac was the lead in Rising Spirit.
Interesting. Okay. I'm going to try to go back and read them and catch up and see where we're at there, and catch up to, see where we've been, because it's been a lot of books in between then and there for me. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So what do you think? What would you score this first issue?
Out of 10?
Out of 5.
Out of 5? Yeah, I'm 2.75.
2.75?
Close to a 3.
Yeah, I actually I was going to be like a 3 is kind of what I was going to say, and that is, it really depends more to me on what happens afterwards. You know, it's kind of weird mind trick play, how they play that out. You know, I think that was a lot of reading just to say it was an attempt and let's go again. I feel like they could have maybe have summed that up quicker. But I don't know. I'm not writing this. I'm not sure what the direction is, but I do know the next book only has Kevin Grievous as the writing content credits. So maybe it'll get a more cohesive lined story. So it won't be somebody else's kind of plan with somebody else doing the script. It will be one person's work. And Grievous has done great with what he did with, you know, Underworld and stuff like that. He's done some great characters and concepts. So I'm interested to see where that goes. And then I think it ties up a little bit more with just Lashley and Wynn doing the art, and there's not as many finishers. And maybe it'll come together. I hope it comes together. I hope it kind of summarizes a little bit what's going on a little bit more. But you know, I obviously a Valiant fan. I'm going to keep reading it. I hope the new brass earns my trust. Because this is their first real book that they're putting out. I mean, they did Faith Dreamside, but that was set up. That was in the works already. Jody's been working with Valiant for a long time. That's been set. And yeah, and actually, I think I talked to Warren on that, and he actually said, yeah, Jody's got a script for Faith. So he already knew about that before he had left, Warren. And but yeah, I'm interested to see. This is their book. This is like their first big run at it. Let's see where this goes, where this takes it. And yeah, go from there.
Yeah, I this was some time back, but somewhere I came across the sneak peek for book number 2, no spoilers, and they said that the story seemed to pick up tempo. From what, and then I just briefly skimmed through it because book number 1 hadn't even been out yet. But you know, I try not to delve too deep into those a lot of the time, but now it kind of makes sense, maybe, and you're probably right. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if number 2 really kicks off.
Yeah, that's really what I'm going to judge it on, because that's your lasting creative team for the rest of the series. So, yeah, it was the beginning, it had an end, and we're starting from a beginning again on issue number 2. So, what do you guys think about this book that you guys are watching? Did you guys like it? What are you going to give it? You know, kind of interested in your scores, what you guys think. And then go from there. Then maybe we'll get some more of these live reviews like this. Let us know what books you want. Maybe Chris and I will meet up on a Wednesday after, and we can spoil the crap out of some things.
I'm down.
And you guys can jump on, spoil the crap at it too. If you're interested, let me know. Hit me up. Check us out. Twitter, Patreon, all of the above. Hit like, hit sub. Whatever. You guys rock. And Chris, thanks for jumping on again, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. Everybody, I was going to say stay valiant. That's great. But it's the week of Stan the Man. So Excelsior, everybody. Excelsior.